Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our show. I'm Sister Vassa, in case you didn't know, and you don't know why you're up on a Saturday morning watching this particular show. Um, that's what everybody asks themselves every week, Juliet. But here we are again. This is called Saturday Morning Live, and we are producing this high-tech show of very high production value from Vienna, Austria. And behind the scenes here is my team, which has vigilantly been following the local newspapers to pass on to you the major stories of the week, everybody. Support your local newspapers. Did you know, kids, that we have something called newspapers made out of paper? So we'll have several stories. But first, we're going to get to a very fun topic, original sin. Yay, I can hear your cheers from beyond the screen, my beloved zillions, and some of them are with us. Oh, Cynthia's going to work and she's the only one with us. Well, it's okay. I can talk to Juliet, right, Juliet? She's like, yeah, I guess that's going to be the way it usually is. Jennifer is with us. Here come some other people. Anyway, you guys, I don't mind. I will talk to you about the gripping topic of original sin today. Why? Because I realized that although we did an audio podcast, one of our audio podcasts this week on the topic of yay, original sin, I thought that some simpler formulas could be suggested because it is a very complicated topic and has been, for every generation, really, of theologians. Anyway, who's saying hello to us? I want to just clear up a few things about it. Okay, that's why I'm talking about it. And, I'm just having one of those phases where one tries to grapple with the topic of original sin. It happens to the best of us, all right? Dominic Di Novo, hello. Brother Thomas, hello. Good afternoon, he's saying, because it's afternoon for him. We all pretend that it's morning here. Nice to see you again. Greetings from, he just skipped away, from Poland. Oh, I didn't realize that Brother Thomas is with us from Poland. Terry Gillespie, hello. And Bert, hello to you. Nightingale 1962. So I'm saying hello to all of you wonderful people. Velimir is with us. Hello. Michelle Kochov-Platt is here. Phil. Pete Ver is spelling Juliet's name correctly once again. Juliet, you have really broken everyone. See, she broke me too because I was resisting that double L in Juliet. So, everybody, listen, I also have a few gripping news stories for you. But like I said, first we're going to talk about original sin. Hold your applause, okay? It's getting to be disturbing. We're going to talk about these news stories as well, including bat infestation here at Vienna Airport, which grounded some planes during this week. So that's a pre-Halloween bat story from Vienna. And I'm going to keep that one till the very end, because that's the one everyone wants to hear, I know. That's what every clever production does, Juliet. And we have another story that involves an all-female island called Supershi Island, newly founded in Finland. So listen for that one. And that caught my eye because we in the Orthodox world have something of an all-male peninsula, not an island, but a peninsula, the Holy Mount Athos. And it just caught my eye, this is quite a different kind of thing, but that there is now an island where no men are allowed. I just thought it's amusing, and I aim to amuse you. And then another story we're going to cover is a certain awkward aspect amidst all of the other awkward aspects of the ongoing evaluation of Judge Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court. I'm not going to take a political side on that, everybody, right now. What interests me in the story from this week is the virgin shaming that was going on. And I will get to that. But let's get back to original sin. And I'm just going to say briefly, okay, because even though I know you all want me to spend at least an hour or two talking about it, but sorry, I'm only going to spend about 4 minutes, okay? So let's get the first quote up, Juliet. I would like to, first Adam and Eve, in case you don't know what we're talking about. Here is a picture of Adam and Eve and the serpent in the garden, right? The quote number 1 is from 1 Corinthians 15. You know, you have to look at 1 Corinthians 15, Romans 5, basically. John 3 is relevant, the discussion, the dialogue with Nicodemus about being born again. And see that when we're asking the question about original sin, which is basically, what does Adam have to do with me, right? Here we see that because we share one nature, right? Of course, he is according to the Bible, the first one of us, okay? So biologically, we share Adam's humanity, biologically. But what we are called to do, in a nutshell, okay, is not to have life and life only, as Bob Dylan calls it, but to have life abundantly in the second Adam, or the last Adam, also known as the new Adam, our Lord Jesus Christ. He comes and restores humanity, and so because he also shares our nature, steps into it, we are offered in the salvific works of Christ to still follow the path that we already chose in the garden. You see, we don't escape death. We still die. And we still suffer. But what Christ did is enabled us by walking in our shoes. He walked through that death. He even went down into our hell, but he overcame it. Why? Because death could not hold him. And in his humanity, because now that's been cast into the dough of our nature, has consequences for all of us, right? We are called willingly to embrace that second Adam's humanity and to join him. Is that forced on us? No. But what is something that is not our choice is that we are born into this world, all of the race of the human race of Adam. So the first Adam is a father, you could say, we did not choose, okay? As we don't choose our biological parents. So original sin, everybody, this is what St. Paul is saying with his whole business of juxtaposing Adam and Christ, okay? So if you didn't know this, if you hear the phrase the new Adam or the old Adam, you know what's being talked about. These are our whole goal in life is to leave the old behind more and more and embrace the new and become who we are, okay? In the new Adam, the more and more that we participate in his kind of life, all right? And in baptism, that is when we receive the capacity, because we die and resurrect again in Christ and are buried as we are immersed in the water, we ritually or sacramentally, mystically participate in Christ's death and life. Okay, so getting back to original sin, we don't share culpability. Okay, we are born with the consequences, the crippling consequences of that decision that's made again and again by human beings. But originally, what was the result? Why was it crippling for Adam? Why did he become less alive? And Eve, of course, but I've told you before, we don't mention the woman because she, in traditional cultures, I shouldn't say traditional cultures, that's sort of a nonsensical phrase, but in the ancient world, and until the day before yesterday, practically in world history, men were considered representative of the women. Anyway, so we always hear about the fall of Adam, of Adam's lament, and all of that. So even though if you look more closely, the woman is blamed primarily for the whole incident. But we're not going to get into gender theology, my friends, okay? Even though I just stepped into that one myself. So what am I trying to tell you? That we do have this weakness, not culpability for the sin, but we're cut off to a great degree from the source of life, because God and His will, God is the source of life. We became less capable of being alive, really, and we became mortal and headed towards death because we were cut off from the source of life. But God turned these very things. First of all, He did exile us from the garden because it wasn't good for us to stay there. We couldn't have handled the immortality that He meant for us because we had taken on too much. We took on the knowledge of good and evil before we could have handled that. It's like a teenager or someone in their early teens, a tween, if you will. I think that's what they call them, Juliet. When they want to, go out too late or do things that the grown-ups do, or, engage in activities and behaviors and relationships, abuse substances, and so forth, and do things that they can't handle to find out more, too much information, right? With sexual promiscuity and all this stuff, and they suffer. They end up suffering, sometimes their entire lives, or sometimes teenage activity, or saying, boys will be boys, as we're seeing in the Kavanaugh hearing, can completely, I think, often quite tragically for a family, right? I don't know how much, whether it's true or any of it's true, some of it's true, but certainly bad teenage behavior to some extent, the drinking is coming out in this story, and simply on the career level, that can also be very damaging. But anyway, I'm trying to say that we suffer from the too much information. So the first people who were still too young, right, to handle that information chose to take it in anyway, not having listened to God. He knew that it would be bad for them. And so they end up headed towards death. But God, in His redemption of us, or His plan, His economy of salvation, takes the very things that led to our downfall, like the tree, right? Even though, yes, see, why is it that we all, when we're not at fault, when we're born as babies, right, that we're in need of additional life-giving? Because we share one nature, and God made the world that way, that we're all connected. Why? Why are we connected even from generation to generation? And behavioral biology will confirm that there are consequences of how we do things and react and so forth from the way our parents did things. And there are, an evolutionary biology, if one specializes in that aspect of it, will show that from generation to generation, certain things can change according to, well, it's contested exactly according to which motivation. But anyway, I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about that. So God wanted us all to be one, but we also suffer negative consequences as far as this privation of our nature goes. Because, see, with what is called original sin, even though you'll find theologians calling it original corruption, but you do find also in the Greek theological thinkers the term of sin, amartia, and I'm going to get my line of thought back, my friends. Just hang in there. So God sends us his Son and gives us through his work for us, yes, and the sending down of the Holy Spirit that is the result of Christ's whole journey here, and giving us the capacity for resurrection, yes. Christ, like I said, he takes the very instruments of the devil, or the symbols that the devil chose, and he hangs himself, for example. He elevates himself into a tree, like the serpent sat in the tree. Christ becomes the fruit hanging from the tree that we are now given to eat of his body and blood, okay? And we no longer receive death as the result of eating his body and blood. No, we receive the opposite, life in him, okay? So baptism gives us the capacity we are born again. That is what we are called to be. We're called to be born again in Christ as children of God. We are given the power to become children of God, as it says in John 1. Okay, so I don't know if that clears things up for some of you out there, but I really, my 2 cents on this topic is that we think about God and the fall and our salvation in terms of life and death. How alive are we and how not alive are we? I'm not talking about not being biologically alive. I'm talking about being like the walking dead, even if we are alive. So people like to say that God is love. In fact, the Apostle John said that, and he wasn't the only one. But that is, I'm not contesting that, of course. But God is life as well. And the main thing, because life in God also brings all sorts of other things, love and patience, wisdom, humility, and so forth. But God is first and foremost life. That's the difference between living within and by God and his grace, or outside of him, of being not really alive. All right, so that's enough, I think. I had 2 other quotes for you, but fear not, I think that we should move on. So, who is still with us? Oh, we got a few more people. Hello, everybody, you nice folks. Thank you for showing up, despite everything. I think I told you enough of this. I actually had a lot more to tell you, but I can't talk about it anymore because I want to see who else is here. Unless you all beg me to return to this gripping topic, I won't, all right? Okay, listen to our audio podcast from this week, where? At patreon.com, or subscribe if you haven't done so yet, okay? You will hear more about it there. So, Brother Thomas says he lives in Münster. Oh, that's what I thought, right, but now you're in Poland. Okay, that's clear. Hello, sister, says Dimitra Papadopoulos. She's in Australia. It's 11:30 p.m. for her. Good to have you with us. Dean Theophilus, good morning from Minnesota. Good morning to you. Pete Vare, I appreciate you tackling the question of original sin, as it is one I often struggle to explain to my Latin friends. Hiro is with us from Japan. Good evening, Hiro. And Cynthia Cherry, who has retracted her message, so I don't know what she said. Hello, Cherry Chapman. Brother Thomas, Sister Vassa, is this actually the last episode of your awesome show before your U.S. trip? Very good question. So, indeed, everybody, I am flying to the U.S. of A on Wednesday, right? Is that correct? Wednesday the 3rd. So I'm going to be there for my father's birthday. And then I don't know what I was thinking, but I have all these talks, and it's crazy. I have 8 talks. One of them is just participating in a panel, very interesting event at Fordham University. Check out my speaking schedule to find out more about that. But I'm really a little bit, I've really been trying to prepare another liturgy video for our liturgy course before I leave, but I have these 8 talks to prepare. And because I've reached the part about the anaphora, the Eucharistic prayer, it's really a pretty heavy, it's pretty heavy material that, of course, as always, I'm trying to break down to be, easily digestible and beneficial for us without putting, overwhelming people. There's a lot more information about our tradition than one usually suspects. Anyway, so I'll be in various places now, also including Boston, Massachusetts. I'm very excited about that. In Boston, Massachusetts, I'm doing an event for the Church of the Advent. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they have a program called Theology on Tap. So I'll actually be giving a talk that will be on the 11th, October 11th, 7 p.m. at a Mast restaurant. Anyway, you could look all that up, but I'll be in Boston, and I'm thrilled because that means, they're bringing me there and putting me up, but I'll get to see my beloved mentor, Father Robert Taft, whom I haven't seen for a while, and he's at a retirement home. So I'll be able to be in Boston, and I'm very happy about that. And also some other dear friends in Boston. I will be in, besides New York City, Fordham University, I will be in Princeton, New Jersey. I'll be at St. Vladimir Seminary. I'll be in Rahway, New Jersey, and Binghamton, New York. And then I will be in Ohio, in South Euclid, or is it North Euclid? It's South Euclid. And where else? Fair Lawn, Ohio. So anyway, you're asking me, I didn't respond to your question, right? I don't know. I'm sorry about that. Who was asking me? Brother Thomas. You're asking me if I'm going to do, if I'll have a show next week. Well, here's the thing. Next week, I want to do live shows on the road. I think that'll be fun, right, everybody? That's going to be on the 6th, right? That's going to be October 6th. Yeah, why not? It'll be fun. I'll try to do it from my parents' home on October 6th. Do I have a talk on October 6th? In the morning? Mm-mm. It's not in the morning? Oh, you're sure? I think that one's on in the morning. 6 p.m. Oh, 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
See, I thought it was at 6 a.m. I thought that would draw quite the crowd on a Saturday morning, right? Who wouldn't want to hear me talk about, say, original sin, maybe at 6 a.m. on a Saturday? Why not? Why not, right? We're up for anything, say the zillions. Cynthia's saying, see Steve Colbert on this from yesterday. His breakdown of the hearings are great. Yeah, I'm not even going to start about Stephen. Edward Lotz, coffee sounds good right now. Does it sound good? Yeah. Cecilia, good evening. Hello, Cecilia. Jennifer, you're so fun to learn from, sister. Talk about anything. Thanks. You guys are, thanks. No, I do appreciate it. Sometimes I really don't know how you listen to this. Cecilia, please pray for me on the 7th of October, the day I will make my private vow of virginity for a period of 5 years. All right, Cecilia. Well, now we all know about it, right? But God bless you, okay? Jennifer Luna, you're so fun to learn from. Oh, yeah, you already. I think I'm going to read that comment 5 times, and then I'm going to pretend like I read it again by mistake. Laura Divini, good morning from North Carolina. Oh, are you doing okay, Laura? Are you guys okay after the Florence? And I don't mean the Council of Ferrara Florence of 1439, as difficult as that was for some of us. Okay, maybe that's not a fun joke in your area, but seriously, I hope that you're doing okay. Are you guys in your home? And our prayers, okay, for you, Laura. Sorry, I saw that last week. I think you mentioned, but I hadn't seen your comment during the show, and didn't realize you were in that area. What do I do to make this thing go down, Juliet? I want to put down the link. Please sign on to our audio podcast, everybody. We ask you every week, and I have to say that some of you respond, and I'm sorry if I'm preaching to the choir, but we do need, and if all of you are subscribed, but think about subscribing, please, okay? We need your support. We really do. It's been difficult to keep going. There was a transition after Rob left. Anyway, did I promise you some stories, my friends? Let me get to some fun stories. First of all, I want to mention that there is an all-female island, in case you haven't heard. Let's go to, is that what I was supposed to talk about? Or are we going to talk about the virgin shaming with Brett Kavanaugh? All right, okay, you know what? Let's go to Super She Island, because everybody wants to hear about this. All right, there is, everybody. Let me see. Our news department has provided me with notes about this. So, where is this? Why am I seeing something about Moldovans? There is, everybody. Wait a second, Juliet. Where is this about? This is
right there. It's right there.
Oh, I have 3 pages of this.
Yeah.
What do you know? We are experiencing operating difficulties. Please stand by. All right, here we go. So, Super She Island is in Finland, and it was purchased. Okay, this is how it came about. This is an island where only women are allowed. This lady, named Christina Roth, who is the founder of something called Super She. She's an entrepreneur, and she's building this community for modern Wonder Women, as it says here, on an island. There she is, right? And I think one of those is her island. Her husband's family owns the neighboring island, but she's an entrepreneur, made a lot of money herself. My head keeps getting blocked. I'm trying to sit so that I'm not blocking either the icon of Christ behind me or that I'm not blocking my own face. Anyway, I'll get it right, everybody. It's always hard the first time. So, it's on the Baltic Sea, in case you didn't know where Finland was. An isolated landform in Finland, surrounded by greenery and miles of blue waters. It is the feminist version of a gentleman's club, it says here in the press release. The 8.4-acre private island remains members-only territory. It has 4 chic cabins and can accommodate only 10 people at a time. So this lady, Roth, before purchasing the island, I have to clarify here, she established, indeed, this global network called Super She. It's for women. The group connects women across the world to inspire them to, quote, improve their lives and regain overall health through fitness, beauty, fashion, sex, spirituality, and more. Women, she says, anyway, I'm reading you the press release, everybody, in case you want to know about this. Women need to spend time with other women. Being on vacation can cause women to become sidetracked, whether it's to put on a swipe of lipstick or grab a cover-up. We want Super She Island to be rejuvenating and a safe space where women can reinvent themselves and their desires. A place where you can recalibrate without distractions. So anyway, so she interviews carefully anybody who wants to come, and so some people are critical of that, and then others are critical because everybody has an opinion on it, because we live in the internet age, and so people express their opinions. And you're not allowed to bring alcohol or anything like that. It's only healthy food that they eat there, and there's yoga classes. So I don't know if your eyes glaze over when you hear about it, but I found it interesting because we do have in the Orthodox world, in case you don't know, and I've already mentioned it here, a peninsula, right, called the Holy Mountain, Mount Athos. And I find it's in our age also of Me Too. It's of course not a new idea for monastics as an aid against distractions to form communities of the same gender. Of course, in our age of sort of gender issues and no longer does society think in terms of doesn't presume that everyone in one gender will be of quote unquote same sexual orientation. So there are complexities to that. So presuming that certain kinds of distractions wouldn't be there because everybody's of the same female gender wouldn't be a presumption made at large today by a society. But in traditional texts and typica, that is monastic rules, the presumption always is that everybody's heterosexual. There's very rarely you see some of the rules, like there's rules about it's strictly forbidden for one monk to visit the cell of another unless there is an express blessing to do so, say by the abbot. But anyway, we see on Mount Athos, in fact, stories connected to visits. Not only is Mount Athos, in case I didn't explain it, that Mount Athos is a place. It's a peninsula in northeastern Greece, which doesn't allow women. And it's home to 20 male monasteries. It's under the jurisdiction of the Ecumenical Patriarchate. And today it has over 2,000 monks from Greece and many other countries. And there is this prohibition on the entry for women, called avaton in Greek, to make live, and it's explained like this, to make living in celibacy easier for men who have chosen to do so. Monks feel that the presence of women alters the social dynamics of the community and therefore slows their path towards spiritual enlightenment. Well, that's from the Wikipedia page. I'm not sure that would be a traditional expression of what they're getting at. But what I found curious, all right, because again, in our age of Me Too, I'm wondering, is the Super She Island a signal that, I don't know, just, men and women want to take a break from one another, for a while? Well, concerning Mount Athos, I found this story about, that Prince Charles is, he likes to dabble in various religions and is a fan of Mount Athos. So here you see him enjoying an afternoon chat with monks on Mount Athos. And it was reported when he planned to visit there again, but this was back, I don't know if he's been back there since then, but I found a story about Prince Charles visiting Mount Athos, and it says here, this was in March 2010, not exactly news that's recent, but it says here, as Prince Charles approaches his 5th wedding anniversary next month, this is from 2010, everybody, he is feeling the need for a male-only spiritual recharge. He is contemplating a solo sojourn at Mount Athos. The religious enclave, Mount Athos, where no woman has set foot since the 11th century, was a favorite retreat for Charles during his testing times with his first wife, Diana. But since his marriage to Camilla Parker Bowles, it's Bowles, right? Or is it? I should know that, right? He has not felt the need to return until now. So I'm just thinking it's interesting to explain why a layperson, especially a married layperson, would want to get away to an all, like a husband like Prince Charles to an all-male community. So this is the end of that story, everybody. Of course, we have others who have visited Mount Athos that we see, other men, see, like Vladimir Putin. Was he escaping women? I don't know. But there he is. Why don't we get to everybody's... So, end of that story, everybody. I know, just wanted you to know about it, my friends. You're welcome. Next story, Juliet, I think we're going to get to the virgin shaming. Just a brief comment. We're going to get to this picture. I don't know if you're following it. Maybe you guys don't follow the news, but here in Europe, of course, we're hearing all about the hearings evaluating Judge Brett Kavanaugh. And, of course, the testimony this week of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford about her, what she has alleged, what happened to her, and she believes it involved Brett Kavanaugh and a friend of his. Anyway, the thing that interests me in this story is the following awkward thing that came out in the Fox News interview with the judge about his virginity, both in high school and college, and, as he said, many years thereafter. So this is what he said in an interview on Fox News this past week. Judge Brett Kavanaugh. I'm not interested, everybody, in the politics of this. I'm not. I'm interested in the topic of virginity in our broader culture, okay, and that it's treated after a certain age, especially, say, if someone's, a virgin in college, apparently, and afterwards for many years. I have heard on several programs this treated with ridicule, that it's, it's not healthy, and I just want to talk about it, I'm not going to talk about it from a religious perspective, from 1 minute. Is anybody still here? The numbers are shrinking. So I don't know why that would be, right? I did not have sexual intercourse, he said, or anything close to sexual intercourse in high school or for many years thereafter. So, all right. So then, if you watch some of the coverage of this, of course, I understand that, the late night comedians make fun of everything, but the actual approach, and I sometimes found it, with my students, say in university, there's of course, we all grew up in different microcosms and traditions and cultures, and what is normal, and considered positive in one family and community might not be next door, or in some other community. So I'm aware of that. But I'd like to say, from a purely secular standpoint, because a lot of people don't accept the morality or, ethical sexual, kind of boundaries set out by traditional church teaching. But even from a purely secular standpoint, I want to say, if someone is supposedly liberal-minded and liberal in their politics, right, and respects the freedom of choice and the whole question of sexual behavior, take the most liberal person, right, not guided by any belief system that is traditional. How could a person like that be shaming someone else for their choices in this area, to remain unattached, to remain celibate, for whatever reason, be it religious or not? It's simply not. It's not cool to shame someone else's choice. All right, because why would you? I was surprised by the shaming done, with regard to Brett Kavanaugh. I don't know. I don't know. In that whole scene, who's, where exactly. I'm not evaluating whether it's true or not true. I'm regarding right now the principle. Okay, the principle being, and I think it's important for, us as adults at least. I know there's that movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and of course that's supposed to be ridiculous. For me, it's just interesting that in this case, adults, mature people, would impose on someone else their own view of sexual conduct. Adults who consider themselves liberal. And I've been told, I do have some female friends, not monastics. Well, I'm thinking of one concretely that's told me, because I believe she's like 30 or 31, but she was interested in getting married. It didn't work out. And, she was even told on one occasion but she doesn't engage in sexual intercourse with anybody. So she said that it was told to her by a doctor who was asking her about this when she was getting a checkup, and who's, expressed concern and, made her feel like there is something wrong with her. So anyway, I wanted to put in these few words for, there being different people and different choices in that whole area. But there can be an opposite kind of intolerance going in the direction, I think, towards not only religious people, but people who decide to remain unattached. It's not only, that it's not only in certain ancient religions where celibacy is valued. It is, that in certain, like not secret service, but you could have special military requirements, ascetical requirements for certain lines of work, certain kind of agents that work very dangerous jobs, for them to be unattached because of the line of work that they're doing. There are different reasons that can be, or people pursuing certain careers, other careers that, require them to be fully engaged, could find, I remember Father Taft telling me this, he told me people would ask him, how did he have time to write so many books? In case you don't know, he's a very famous scholar and Byzantine liturgiologist, Father Robert Taft. People would ask him, how did you have time? You've written so many things. And it's true, and all of his books are not just, thoughts while shaving, but intensely researched. It's like half a page of footnotes with meticulous, the meticulous recording of every manuscript that he consulted, and there were hundreds of them. And he said, well, because I'm not married, he was completely just this, completely dedicated servant of this whole area of research, and became the best in the world in it. So there are, besides indicating to someone, oh, well, you shouldn't do that, or I don't do that because God says no, because this doesn't have an effect on many people. One, also from purely practical and in purely secular terms, can, can completely reject as immature, as something that teenagers do to bully one another, to somehow ridicule the choice of someone to maintain their virginity. I just wanted to say that. As usual, I was not very brief, my friends. So, the story you've all been waiting for now, everybody, and congratulations, you have stuck it out to the end. Because here it is, everybody, the final story I promised you all, and why you've all stuck around. It's the bats in Vienna airport. Indeed, this past Wednesday, what happened was, here at the airport in Vienna, it's not a very large airport, but there was a swarm of bats. It was on Wednesday evening, September 26th. What happened was this swarm of bats was surrounding several planes, and the air traffic controllers in the towers couldn't see them, just the way it was evening, and they're bats. And the pilots, however, of the planes could see them. So the air traffic controllers were telling the planes that they could fly, that they could take off. But the pilots said, no, we can't because there are these bats. In case you didn't know, if these things are flying around, it's, of course, dangerous because they could fly into whatever those things are called, Juliet, the turbo engines or whatever of the plane. So how did they handle the bats? Because they just wouldn't go away. There were some delays indeed, and at least 4 planes were grounded, and there were other delays connected to it. Well, airport firefighters saw off the mammals by spraying a fine mist of water over the runway. You see, Vienna airport never experienced an incident like this. So we're looking into the causes. Will we be, infested with the bats? But they didn't know exactly what to do. So there you go. I'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat place. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say that. I'm not finishing yet. I'm almost finished. Bert, Edward Lutz said that's spooky. Vaska Petrovich is with us. Hello. I'm just saying final hellos, everybody. Okay? I'm going to remove the bat picture. I am going to the USA, so look up my speaking schedule. I will be, everybody, trying to do this show on the road. Okay? I'll try to handle it myself. I might even have a special guest. If it works out, somebody I will meet on the road. Okay? What are we looking for? Yes, we would like for you to go to our website, our friends, and see we have something new for you. And that is part 3 of our Divine Liturgy course. Because up until now, we have had available on a USB stick parts 1 and 2. But now we also have 3. And that means you can get an additional 13 videos. 13 videos have fit on this because our Divine Liturgy course is ongoing. And now we have reached up to the very anaphora. So all of the videos are on this part 3, leading all the way up to the anaphora. The final video, that was the last one we made available, was on the waving of the aer during the chanting of the creed. Okay, so keep that in mind. Go to our gift shop. Get the USB sticks if you're teaching a course, perhaps, on liturgy in the Byzantine tradition, or you just want to inform yourself, or you're a homeschooler, or whatever, you have an adult liturgy study class at your parish. Some people do that. I get emails from several priests who are doing that at their parish, showing the videos as they come out. Also, we're running out of this book. I'm serious, and we're not gonna. We don't have time right now to do the whole reordering of it. So I'm gonna take on the road, if I have any left, these books. But they will probably be sold out at the first talk or two. That's the way it always happens. So check out. You can get the book here at our website, www.coffeewithsistervassa.com. All right, everybody? Of course, if you are coming to one of the talks, I can sign your book. Yay. I'll draw a little flower or something for you. I don't know why people like their books signed, though, right? I have a lot of signed books, but it's like, oh, okay. It's like having, I don't know. All right, anyway, I love you people. Who else is with us? Dimitra Papadopoulos is saying, I'm late because the video is lagging, so I'm 5 minutes behind. Okay. I don't know how that, oh, Jennifer's happy about the road show. Dimitra is also saying virginity shaming is shameful. The media in general makes out a strong woman to have strong sexual desires. Society believes it's abnormal to abstain from sex because it's become the norm. Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure it's really the norm. You know, like, it's sort of like the Hollywood, there's a presumption in certain TV shows, but it's not really the way everybody, it's not normal, you know, for everybody. You're just supposed to, oh, you know, as you know, I don't live in a cave. I guess bats and caves and stuff are the theme of the show today. But I don't think that needs to be accepted or acceptable. And if anybody out there is bullied for it, then it's ridiculous from any point of view, from the secular point of view of the freedom of choice in these issues. And that one needs not, you know, to roll over and play dead when something like that is said. So any young people listening, you know, that's nonsense. This is where one can simply not accept it. One can, in that case, just, it's shameful to be so immature. Remember Captive Sally and the Miracle on the Hudson? Oh, you mean Captain Sally, don't you, Cynthia? Yes, I do. I remember he landed on the Hudson. Indeed, that hero. All right, everybody. I'm sorry, Bert Noyes. Virginity is not valued, says Bert, in our American culture, and the public institutions help reinforce the concept that the ground of being is sexual and its various manifestations. Yeah. All right, everybody. Do the Orthodox have a peninsula for women? No, I don't think we have a peninsula for women. Maybe we'll think about investing. No, I don't know. I actually that is actually not the type of thing that matches my character, actually. Can you do a video on the different major Protestant denominations and why they are the way they are? I think we could do an audio podcast, Pravoslavna Max Boy 50. Laura Divini is telling us we in Charlotte are okay. Eastern part of North Carolina needs help and prayer. Oh, okay, Laura. Well, we're glad that you're okay. God, to God be the glory. Pete Vare, I signed on after last week's SML. Love your commentaries on the liturgy. Oh, thank you, Pete. See, I didn't know that you signed on. Thank you, Pete. That's really nice. Everybody sign on. You will love the liturgy course. You really will. And I think you might enjoy the audio podcast as well. I'm not sure why, but some people do. Dimitra Papadopoulos says she's drinking coffee right now. Ha ha. Cynthia says, National Coffee Day today. Oh, is it? All right. That's great. I didn't know that. I tried this, what's it called? Pumpkin spice latte for the first time in my life today, everybody, at Starbucks. And I have to say, it's not for me. I'm sorry. I can understand it's sweet, but just have a hot chocolate, you know? To me, it was like a flavored, it's just not like a coffee experience. For me, coffee is black. I just have a thing for black. Juliet, I don't know if you noticed. Everybody, I have to say goodbye. All right, everybody. Love you. A happy end of September. And I hope to see some of you during my awesome Make Orthodoxy Great Again speaking tour. All right. Bye, everybody.